that's acceptable. So we were able to pass some legislation to fix that. And when it passed the House, passed the Senate, and the president's legislative guy calls my chief of staff. And he says, hey, the president's going to sign the bill into law tonight, but don't tell Will this, but we're going to send him the pen that the president used to sign the bill. But it's going to take 2 weeks to get there. Not 2 weeks, 2 months. 2 months. The White House is like 16 blocks from the Capitol. You know, it's going to take 2 months to send a pen from the seat of power to the other branch of government. It's pretty crazy to me. So my chief tells the rest of the team, everybody's high-fiving each other, doing a little dance, right? And I'm like, y'all, act like you've been in the end zone before. And then he realized not that many legislators have actually been in the end zone. The last time someone from this district, from Texas 23, got a bill signed into law was in 2007. That's y'all's representative. Y'all need someone up in Washington, D.C. that's getting things done. And we've had 2 bills signed into law, and there's possibly we get a 3rd when we get back in September. And it's all about reducing the size and scope of the federal government. It's all about making sure the federal government is operating more efficiently, and the money that y'all send there is being used wisely. And that's what this government should be doing, and it's great doing that. So it's an honor to be up here. I'm going to stop there. Make sure don't fall. I'll catch it though. I got the reflexes of a cat. So I appreciate y'all being here, and I'm gonna open up for questions. Or I'm taking pearls of wisdom as well too. We were just at Brackett High School, and I told them, I said, look, there's 3 kinds of knowledge: stuff you know you don't know, but what you don't know is the largest of those 3. And one of the reasons I spend so much time out in the district is to try to reduce that 3rd one and make sure I'm in touch and make sure I'm talking about the issues that y'all care about. You know, we vote from Monday through Thursday or Tuesday through Friday up in Washington, and I'm back in the district the rest of it. This is our 4th stop today, right? And so we're going to try to hit as many Dairy Queens as we can in these 29 counties over the next 10 days. So yes, sir, first question.
Most of the people here are not old enough, and you're not old enough to remember 1939.
Yes, sir.
I see a parallel between Nazi Germany and what we're facing today. I think we had a Neville Chamberlain in the White House. If you don't stop this thing and head off Iran, we're back in World War II or World War III with nuclear arms.
Right.
And here is one from the Wall Street Journal from last week,
right,
of possible way Congress could. They've been defrauded on this deal.
Right.
Read it when you get a chance.
No, I will. And for y'all I can't hear, the gentleman basically said this is akin to what happened in 1939, and President Obama is Neville Chamberlain. Neville Chamberlain was the Prime Minister of the UK, and he basically said,
peace in our time.
Peace in our time, and basically Hitler's not a bad guy. We all know how that turned out. And I agree with your analogy that this is absolutely the case. I was in Jerusalem recently talking about ISIS, and we were in Jerusalem, Baghdad, Istanbul, Ankara, and Berlin. And you can't be in Jerusalem and not talk about the Iran deal. You can't be in the Middle East and not talk about the Iran deal. And Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, says it's like we're trying to domesticate a wild tiger. And we all know how that ends. And to me, this administration likes to say that if we don't do this deal, it means war. That's a false choice. If we don't do this deal, it means additional sanctions. And then John Kerry would retort, well, if we don't do this deal, our European allies are not going to continue their sanctions. So what you're telling me is that our foreign policy with our biggest allies is so poor that Europe would choose Iran over the United States? That's absolutely outrageous to me. So to me, we kill this deal, we continue sanctions. Oh, and hey, by the way, this administration is going to let the Iranians sell energy on the open market, but we can't? One way to help put the screws to some of these people, we should be using our energy policy as a tool of foreign policy. And if we're selling energy to Western Europe, Eastern Europe, South Korea, Japan, guess who's not? The Iranians and the Russians. You want to stop the Russians in that part of the world, you hit them where it hurts, and that's their pocketbook. So I agree with you 100%. If you would have asked me 45 days ago, will we be able to kill this deal? I would have been a little hesitant. But every day, something new comes out that's so outrageous about this deal. We're going to let the Iranians decide which locations we can go in and inspect. I had a young kid on our Facebook page say, that's like a police officer pulling over a drug dealer and saying, I'm going to search your car for drugs. And the drug dealer says, when? And the police officer comes back and says, in 30 days. Right? So sir, I'm with you. Like I said, I'm fine. I need y'all's help. I need y'all to get your friends and your families in other districts and make sure they're contacting their member of Congress. I'm doing a lot of one-on-one meetings in order to try to kill this deal. But it's good to know that a lot of y'all have my back on this one. What else? Thank you. Yes, sir.
What do you have on that? You think it's going to be necessary to have boots on the ground in Iraq and Syria?
So the question was basically boots on the ground in Iraq or Syria. I use what's happening in Syria and Iraq. The analogy is Afghanistan from 2001. In December of 2001 is when a town called Kandahar in southern Afghanistan fell. That was the stronghold of the Taliban. And at December of 2001, we had kicked all of the Taliban out of the country, and we had killed about 2/3 of Al-Qaeda leadership. And there were 400 Americans on the ground. 300 special forces, 100 CIA officers. And they were able to do what they did because, number one, we had the greatest Air Force the world had ever seen. Part of it is because of what y'all are doing here at Laughlin Air Force Base. Right? And we were working with local groups and local partners and to do some of the work. And the opportunity is there to do that in Syria and Iraq. And so we're going to need some people there. I don't think it's tectonic movements because we need to improve our intelligence game there. Having been in the region and talking to some of my old buddies that are still in the intelligence game, the fact that we're not doing aggressive intelligence in Syria is mind-blowing to me and unacceptable. So this is another issue. And look, ISIS grew out of the fact that we left a void in Iraq.
Right.
And ISIS is a clear and present danger to the United States. And we need to do absolutely everything we can to stop it there. And again, when I was chasing Al-Qaeda, they would do something called night letters. They would write a letter and put it on somebody's doorstep. You can hit a couple hundred people that way in a night. But the way ISIS is leveraging social media, they're hitting tens of thousands of people a day. Tens of millions of people a day. And they're sophisticated. They're doing things like when they do videos, they're mimicking pretty popular movies that we've all watched here, like Saw. These are scary movies. There's like 7 of them. Or they're mimicking American Sniper. Or they're mimicking some video games like Call of Duty. So these folks are very sophisticated, and we have to have a sophisticated response to them. I was part of a task force looking at the threat of ISIS to the homeland. We just finished some work, and our report's going to be coming out about how the whole of government can be doing more to stop ISIS and stop their influence right here in the United States of America. But thank you for the question. Yes, ma'am.